Imagine falling in love with someone who seemed perfect. A kind, affectionate man who said everything you always wanted to hear. Imagine receiving flowers, promises, love videos, compliments, and believing that finally, life was smiling at you. Now imagine waking up in another country, alone, without a phone, with locked doors, and realizing it was all a trap. Today I'm going to tell you the story of a woman from the Philippines, hard-working, dreamer, in love with romantic movies, and carrying a living hope inside her chest. But she didn't know that, by boarding what seemed to be a European fairy tale, she was stepping into one of the darkest chapters of her life. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Isa Bellini, and here I share with you stories based on real events. Stories of strong women who went through emotional scams and extreme situations, but found within themselves the strength to start over. So please leave your like, because it motivates me even more to bring you stories like these. In today's episode, we will tell the story of Malia Reyes. She lived in a modest 2-room home in a small town near Cebu. She was 34, and although she looked younger, her eyes revealed an old tiredness. A nursing assistant in a local hospital, she endured long night shifts, tired feet and slumped shoulders, caring for people who often didn't even know their names. Returning home was a relief and a loneliness. She lived alone. Her father died when she was 9. Her mother, an alcoholic, disappeared from her life when she was 15. Since then, she learned to survive with little. She slept with the sound of a fan and woke up to the alarm of a cracked cell phone she inherited from a co-worker. Malia had never married, but had been in an abusive relationship that left invisible scars, the kind that hurt when the heart tries to restart. She loved the idea of being loved, but no longer trusted anyone in her city. In silence, she nurtured her dreams with romantic movies on her phone and allowed herself to dream when scrolling through Instagram at night, lying in bed with a thin blanket and a blue LED light stuck to the wall. It was there, on a cold August night, between notifications, that she saw a comment on a Reels about what it's like to date a European. The profile belonged to a man named Alexis Moreau. He had elegant photos, a slight beard, always holding a book or a cup of coffee. He had commented, "Filipinas have warm souls. Everything here is cold." Malia liked the comment. 30 minutes later, he followed her. The next day, he messaged her, "Bonjour, Malia. You have a smile that warms any winter." She blushed, even though she was alone in the room. In the days that followed, their conversations became frequent. He spoke Portuguese with a French accent, quoted Bible verses, and said he missed a real woman, simple, sweet, and strong. Alexis said he lived in Lyon, France, owned 3 coffee shops, one inherited from his father, who passed during the pandemic. He was 38, never married, and said he wanted a woman with values. Malia felt seen. She listened to his voice messages every day. Sometimes he would call just to hear her say, "Good night." After 3 months, Alexis was direct. "I want you here, close to me. I can't stand seeing you only through the screen anymore. I want to have coffee with you in my bakery, walk hand in hand in Lyon. I want you as my wife." Malia froze. She told her best friend, Lucia. Lucia had doubts, but Malia believed. "It doesn't seem like a scam. He treats me like a woman, like a person." Alexis sent the invitation letter, said he would take care of the tickets and documentation. He asked her to get a passport. In 2 months, everything was ready. He insisted she bring only light clothing. He said he would buy everything she needed in Lyon. "You will be my princess. You will have everything. Just come." On November 4th, Malia boarded the plane at Ninoy Aquino International Airport. The trip lasted more than 12 hours, with a connection in Lisbon. During the flight, she didn't sleep. She watched the aircraft map on the screen in front of her, as if waiting for her dreams to appear at the destination. She cried silently, not out of fear, but out of gratitude. God, if this is a trap, show me. But if it's a gift, take care of me. She arrived in Lyon at 9:42 in the morning. As she walked through the arrival gate, she saw Alexis with a sign, Mon amour, enfin. He held a bouquet of red roses, smiled when he saw her. Malia melted. He was even more handsome in person. Slightly tanned skin, dark eyes, and a calm voice. Alexis took her to dinner at a dimly lit restaurant, with rustic walls and waiters wearing berets. Malia had wine for the first time in her life. She smiled shyly when she heard the clinking of their glasses. To our new life, he said. That night, they slept in separate rooms. Alexis said he respected her values. Malia felt special. The next day, they walked along the Rhone River. He took her to a bridge with lovelocks. Let's place ours tomorrow, he promised. On the third morning, Malia woke up to an odd silence. She looked for her phone but couldn't find it. Alexis said, I took it to install the European chip. You'll need it. She smiled but felt a strange sensation in her stomach. That night, they didn't go out. They had dinner at home. He was tense, dry, gave short answers, said she needed to adapt. You're not in the Philippines anymore. Here, the rules are different. On the fourth day, she tried to leave. The electronic gate was locked. It's dangerous. The French don't like foreigners walking alone. Malia believed him, but deep down, she started to feel fear. On the sixth day, Alexis changed completely. You think you can live here for free, sleep in my bed, eat my food, and give me nothing in return? Malia froze. He shouted. She cried, tried to argue. He laughed. You really thought this was a fairy tale? You came because I wanted you to, and you stay as long as I want. Malia began to realize there was more than fear. There were secrets, silent codes hidden in every corner of the house. He no longer called her by name, only gave cold, dry commands. Told her to clean, serve, be quiet. And she obeyed, out of fear, for survival. On the 10th morning, while cleaning his room, she saw a crooked picture on the wall. When she straightened it, she heard a hollow sound behind the wardrobe. Later, while he was in the shower, she approached the spot. She bumped into a small key that had fallen behind the dresser. The next day, taking advantage of the hours he was out, Malia pretended to be organizing clothes. She searched for the right lock. Then, lifting the rug beside the bed, she noticed a loose floorboard. It was almost imperceptible, but beneath it, hidden under a false bottom, she found a narrow door, a kind of passage to an isolated office in the house. It was a windowless room with a single yellow lamp hanging from the ceiling. The air was stuffy, and it smelled of mold mixed with cheap cologne. There was a dark wooden desk, 2 chairs, and a shelf. On the desk, black folders with printed labels. Valeria, Colombia, Tanya, Russia, Luana, Brazil. When she opened one, Malia saw printed pages with prepared dialogues, questions to charm vulnerable women, phrases in Portuguese, Spanish, and Arabic, like an emotional manipulation manual, and photos, hundreds of photos. Young, beautiful women, smiling with eyes that didn't know the danger, some in seductive poses, others in videos with forced gestures. In a corner of the room, a laptop with files named by dates and countries. And then she saw it. Her own photo. The name Malia Reyes in a newly created folder. Her heart raced. Her hands began to sweat. She felt her legs go weak. Next to her name, a spreadsheet with values in euros. Her name was beside a high amount, marked in red. €8,000, reserved, profile reserved for Lebanon client. The truth hit her. Malia was not an exception. She was just another piece in the trade of lives. Alexis was the predator, and she, the next product. That night, she didn't sleep. She planned. The next day, she faked a fever, weakness, blurred vision. Alexis grumbled but said he would go buy medicine. Malia ran. She searched the house. At the back of the bookshelf, she found her passport hidden inside a French Bible. In the kitchen cupboard, among dish towels and candles, she found an old phone, small, with a cracked screen, but working. She connected to the Wi-Fi. With trembling fingers, she typed, "Trapped, lion. Malia Reyes, I need help. Contact, Philippine Embassy." She clicked send and felt a tear roll down. It was fear, but it was also hope. The night was long. She slept with the phone hidden under her pillow and a kitchen knife under the mattress. She heard every sound as a warning. She waited for the door to burst open, either by him or by someone who would finally take her away from there. The next morning, at 8:14, there were 3 sharp knocks at the door. Alexis, still groggy, opened it, and the firm voice of a French police officer echoed, "Monsieur Moreau, you are under arrest." Malia heard it from the stairs. Her legs barely responded. She collapsed to her knees right there, before being helped by a social worker who arrived with the team. The documents, the photos, the data, everything was there. The house was a web, and she was the survivor. Today, Malia lives in Marseille. She works with psychological support at an NGO. She shares her story with girls in public schools. She wrote a book with her testimony. "I was almost sold, but I was bought by God in the middle of the chaos." This story is based on real events. Unfortunately, there are many Malias living today what she survived. Not all manage to escape. Not all get a second chance. So don't keep this story to yourself. If it touched you, like the video, share it with someone who needs to open their eyes, and subscribe to the channel to receive more stories like this one. Here, every narrative is a warning. Every video can be a cry for help. And you can be the voice that saves someone from silence.